Hello, good morning, and welcome to today's show. My name's Leanne, Peard, your social media specialist, and today gives me great pleasure to introduce to you a lady that I have known and had the privilege of knowing for many years now. I think about 8, 9, maybe 10 years. So welcome Deb Johnstone to our show this morning from Transformational Pathways in Australia. Deb, how are you?
I'm really well, thank you, Leanne, and thank you so much for inviting me. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Thanks for joining us. So, Deb, tell us a little bit about your business. What do you do?
Ooh, what do I do? Oh, okay. So I'm an NLP and a mindset coach, and I founded Transformational Pathways Australia about 6 years ago. I work with people to help them change their thinking, change their mindset, and develop strategies and give them tools and techniques to help them take any aspect of their life to the next level. So whether it's their health, their wellness, relationship, business. I work with a lot of business people, and what I find with business, it's never about business, it's always about personal, and that reflects in the business. So and I work with people one-on-one privately. I work with people in groups, and I also run workshops as well. And I also have a planning tool called Your Success Planner that I developed about 3 years ago. So there's a few different things I do there.
Fantastic. So, Deb, have you always been in business, or how did you start your own business? Can you share your journey with us?
Yeah, it's funny how I came to be in business. Because I was a single mum. I raised my kids on my own. So, their father's around, but I was the main care provider. And so during that time, I did whatever would fit in with being a mum, and would give me the income, the hours. So I worked in lots of different retail outlets. Around that time, I worked in Port Douglas. When they started to get a bit older, I started to get into management, and I was invited to manage different places. And what I noticed then, I started to notice that I seemed to be the person that everyone came to when they had a problem, or they didn't know how to sort something out, or they wanted to do something different, or they're having trouble with someone else, and I mediated. And so I started to realise that whether I was in charge of accounts or people or admin, it always seemed to be about the people. And it was when my kids had grown up and I decided to move to Cairns to have a bit more of a life for myself. And I ended up working in a place in Cairns, practice managing a place in Cairns. And I met some beautiful people. And one of the people I worked with there, and I'm sure a lot of people know who this person is Jo Ettles. She's written a couple of books. She's a local author. And I used to watch Jo when she used to be coaching clients coming out of a clinic. And they used to go in looking, like life was weighing on them, and they'd come out and they'd be laughing, and I'm thinking, I'd really like to learn how to do that. And so within a few months, I'd enrolled in a 2-year life coaching course, a fully accredited one. And when I first enrolled, my intention wasn't to start my own business. My intention was to just learn how to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was when I went into it and I started the studies that I realised the potential of it. And before I knew it, I started my own business, which was like, whoa, I'm in business. Which was, I had no idea what I intended to do with the coaching accreditation. I just know I wanted to learn how to do it. But it wasn't until I was actually in it. And this is where this was one of the things that, one of the insights I share with my clients is sometimes it takes taking that first step before you actually see the potential and the possibilities. Because, then I was in business, and man, was that different. That was so different. And, that was the startup phase. is challenging. It is
Yeah.
challenging. When I first started, which was, I'm going into my 7th year next year. So when I first started, coaching wasn't a really widely known thing in Cairns. You would know this,
Yeah.
wouldn't you, Leanne? Yeah, it wasn't really widely known. Whereas in other parts of Australia it was. And so that was quite challenging. Firstly, being new in Cairns, I'd only been in Cairns for a short time, in a new industry. I'd never been a coach before, where I knew absolutely no one. So it was challenging to start with, obviously around the money, and I know that's a big thing with a lot of business people. You know, it's around the money, where's the money coming from, the consistency of client flow, all that sort of thing. And opposite to what my mentors taught me, I actually decided to jump in head first and I quit my job.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I had another small job for a short time, and then that one ended. And I thought, I'm just going to give this a go. And I went at it, and after 6 months, I was like, oh, I need another job. So, and I think that is one of the main insights that I share as well, is that when you're going out in business, don't put your eggs all in one basket to start with. It's great to have those dreams and to have that commitment. When your survival needs are being threatened, you don't work at your most productive.
Yes. Yeah. So going to that, Deb, because my son always says this, and I find it inspiring. He says, you know, because he's been to a lot of personal development courses as well, and he says everybody will share with you. Like, you can look on the internet and you can see, you know, how to make $1 million in a year, or, you know, $100,000 in 60 days. But the truth is, nobody actually shares how to make that first $10, or how to make that first $10,000, or maybe even that first $40,000, which is crucial, as you were just saying, when you start up, because you have to replace your income and your needs need to be met in order to grow your business. So, and I know this is a hard question because I ask a lot, but what keeps a business owner, or what kept yourself focused and on track, knowing that in the first 6 to 12 months your needs had to be met, but you also had this passion to go into business? That's probably not a very clear question, but anyway.
Well, first of all, I straight away identified that I needed a job. So I found work that was flexible, that I only had to do a couple of days a week, and that utilised a skill that I was already really fluent with. So I was a bookkeeper in a previous job role, so that was something I could easily put all my put energy into without putting everything into it. So I found something that would keep the wolves at the door, or keep the wolves away from the door, and the focus really for me, keeping going. And you know what, I've thought about this, and I think back then, the purpose and the wanting to do something with more meaning was a driver, and it still is a driver. Wanting to do something with more meaning, wanting to help people be the best that they can be as a driver. I think the thing that kept me most committed is that I didn't want to fail. Yeah, I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to walk out there and say, I couldn't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the thing then.
Yeah, that is important. I think, you know, for many business owners, they do have this why, you know, I want to change the world, I want to change people's lives, and that is a reason why we get out of bed of a morning. But still, when you think about it on a personal level, because if you think about the personal why, what drives us, and, you know, it can be the fear of fear of failure, of not being able to fail. And also, as we get older, I see a lot of women, in business, say 40 years and over, and they really, it's like their, I don't want to say their last chance, but it's like their opportunity to do something different, whether it be a change in life, kids have left the home, like you said, and really, time is limited. Like, let's face it, like I'm 50 next year and I'm going, wow, 50 years on this planet. I don't have another 50. And if I do, the quality of that 50 has been dramatically shortened. So there's that need to really step up the game, isn't it?
It does. It creates, and I'm the same. Yeah, I'm the same. So I'm 56 next year, and it's kind of like, for me, when I started, I was getting close to 50, and it's a really strong moving away focus. It's like, I'm not going to fail at this. I'm not going to live my life and not do this. It's a real moving away from focus, but it worked.
Yeah.
It worked for a while.
And then what happened?
And then I burnt it out.
Well, there you go. Are you happy to share about, a little bit about that? Because I know that, when I first started, many businesses, I'd work 7 days a week. I'd be in front of my computer from sun up to sundown, and even into 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning getting stuff done, So, Deb, are you happy to share a little bit about that with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because this is what actually developed my passion to help business owners even more. So that strong drive to not fail, to not do, to not fail, and to not live my life without doing something big was created a resistance. So it meant that I had to push really hard. And that, together with the second job, working 7 days a week, lots of overwhelm, plenty of stress. And before I knew it, I was sleeping 4 hours a night. I couldn't sleep any more than 3 or 4 hours a night. Even though I was exhausted, I couldn't sleep. I had trouble focusing on one thing. So my focus went blurry. I was jumping from one thing to another, which is one of the things that caused the burnout in the first place. And I had to stop. And that was scary, because I've been wanting to give up that second job, but I've been holding on tightly to it, the fear that my business wasn't stable enough to manage it yet. And I had to stop. I stopped completely for a month, and then I had to gradually move back into my business. So I would start with 20 hours a week. Then after a couple of months of that, I went up to 25 hours a week. But the gift was a massive gift in that, because I learned to work really productively.
Yeah.
I learned how to prioritize really well. I learned how to plan and break things down really well. I learned how to say no to the things that I've said no to quite a number of opportunities, because I knew I didn't feel it was strong enough to take me to where I wanted to be. So it gave me the incentive to be really discerning on the things that I did. And it helped me to connect to what is, which was huge.
Yeah.
It was huge. It was huge, because when I started to learn to connect with what is in the present moment, I didn't have to work so hard. It was amazing. I actually feel teary even thinking about that journey, because it was a real cloud with a silver lining.
So Deb, I think, what you say there is, it's actually quite frightening to hear if you're a business owner already, and I'm thinking about a couple of people that are very dear to me that are so involved in their business, and they overcommit, and I go, wow, can you, to say to them, oi, geez, that's really Australian, isn't it? Yes, mate. Yes, so anyway, to say to them, you should consider stepping back, or you should consider stopping, or you should consider taking some time out. I can already hear the fear of business owners going, but I can't do that because, my family relies on me to bring the money in. I need the money to feed the children, whatever the reasons are, which are our survival needs. The fear of doing that after they worked so hard to get to that point, it's just fearful, isn't it? But they have to, but, stepping back and having a look at the big picture and how you can work more productively, I think, all of a sudden I sense so much peace in that, and it's not detrimental to their health. So if a business owner, so as a coach, just, if you had one tip or one flag that somebody may not be consciously aware that they're about to burn out, what could you share with them? Like, they're so busy being in their business that they're not seeing what's actually happening. Is there any tip that you could share with them besides coming and using your services, obviously?
Yeah, that's because I totally get what you're saying. It's because I experience that with clients as well. When they first come to me, it's really like, no, I can't. It's like they're holding on for dear life, but I can't let go. The signs that you're burning out are anxiety, frequent overwhelm, what else? That inability to sleep. So either having trouble getting to sleep or waking up really early in the morning. And when I say really early, I mean like 3 o'clock. Not feeling able to switch off the brain. That's another sign as well. Feeling like you're in fast mode. And I have people come to me and they say, "Oh no, I'm fine," and I can see it in their eyes. They're like,
yeah. And what about the emotions, Deb? Like would they experience like anger or
yes,
sadness or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah. So anger, frustration. Hopelessness is another feeling as well that's associated. I mean, and when our adrenals burn out, it can bring mild depression as well. So, all those sort of emotions, and it really is about learning to trust. It really is about learning to trust and learning to let go. And I know how scary that can be. The thought of doing that when you're in that pattern, that behavior pattern.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you do it, everything magically starts to flow. It is quite amazing that everything magically starts to flow. You'll find that you'll attract more business because your energy changes. Your energy is in a place of receiving. And things start to flow to you. It's really challenging to describe it to someone that hasn't experienced it yet. Yeah, it is that feeling of hanging on is really a lot of the time based around that. We've got to get it all done. Fear of not completing it all. Fear of not having enough clients. Fear of not bringing in enough money. Fear of this. Fear of that. And it creates this gripping feeling where you just got to hold on. And when you're in that energy, it's like you're just pushing this really heavy rock up a steep hill.
Yeah.
When you let go of it, and a lot of people say, well, what do you mean by letting go? And I get it, because when you haven't experienced it yet, you don't know what it feels like. So it's letting go is kind of like just knowing where you're heading. It's knowing where you're heading, and I always say, still have a goal. You know where you're heading. You've got your goal, but step back from it.
Yes.
Be happy with where you are right now, and just appreciate everything that's around you right now. Feeling your feet on the floor, Go to the beach and your feet in the sand. focusing on everything that's around you instead of the fear of not having that thing in the future that you're aiming for. That's more of a feeling of letting go. Does that make sense? I don't know
It does. Yeah. No, you did. That's perfect, Deb, because I think, that's what a lot of businesses need to hear, especially when we push ourselves so hard to meet our dreams and our goals. And I honestly believe that you often don't know that you're burning out because you're running on stress and I know there's cortisol, is it?
Cortisol, yeah.
Cortisol that flows through your body, and we're not meant to survive with that adrenaline running through our bodies 24/7. We're meant to actually use that in the fight and flight mode. So that's really beneficial to many businesses, I think, and just whatever it is, just taking some time out, not working 7 days a week, or making some times, working only 9 to 5. Turn your phone off, who cares, have it on message bank. Yeah, do whatever you need to do. So that's perfect, Deb. So, from that stage or that space after experiencing your own burnout, then obviously, as you said, you went into a flow and your business grew?
My business actually grew while I was working less hours, which is quite amazing. Yeah. Because I learned how to, like I said, I learned how to prioritize. And that's one of the reasons I developed Your Success Planner. Because what I learned to do in that process is actually how I created Your Success Planner. So I learned how to break things down so that I ended up with one small thing that I could 100% focus my energy on in that moment, and everything else, because it had been so well broken down, I could completely forget about it.
Yes. Perfect. So Deb, where can they get the Success Planner from? Do you have a copy of one there?
I've got a copy of last year's. Here it is.
Awesome.
So I've got the other ones, but they're in a box.
So Deb, where can they get a Success Planner from? It's 2019, fast approaching. People should be actually doing their goals now.
And there's not a lot of these hard copies left either. I think there's only about 15 left. But there's plenty of PDFs. So go to my website, debjohnston.com.au, and just click on the eShop there, and you can order a copy there. And I think, there's still enough time to get it before Christmas.
Yay! Awesome. Fantastic. And, business owners should be having this time now to plan for 2019.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great time to plan for 2019, and even either now or really early in the new year to do it there as well. And that's always hold a workshop at the beginning of the year as well.
You do have a workshop. Do you want to share that with us as well for our local residents?
Yeah, so for local people, it's a full-day workshop called Power Start 2019. So in that, I'll be helping people get a really clear direction for what they want to achieve for 2019. I'll be helping them understand why they're sometimes getting their own way and how to change it. What else am I doing? I'm helping them set really effective goals. There's an art to setting effective goals. There's a part to it because the language that we use affects the way our mind processes information. So we'll be setting goals, we'll be breaking it down into that plan so they've got something that they can 100% focus on in the step that they're on. We'll be doing a lot of other things like shifting limiting beliefs, using NLP techniques and strategies to anchor them to success. So there's a lot of different things. It's a full day. It's 9 till 6.
Oh, wow. And is that on your website too, Deb?
Yeah, it is. It's under upcoming events.
Awesome. Good. Fantastic. So, Deb, I know we sort of delved quite deep into business and burnout, which I think was is important for everybody that's listening to the show today. But is there anything else that you'd like to share that I haven't actually asked you today with the audience?
I think the number one I always say is never give up. And that is something that I promised myself I wouldn't give up. And now I'm at this stage, it is a must for me, like it's unthinkable to give up. So yeah, never give up. So it's really be persistent, be persistent. There's always a way to do something. There's always a way to succeed. It's just about being persistent and changing things and researching things until you find a way. Be determined and really look after yourself. Health and wellness is huge.
Yeah.
It is massive, because our state is what drives our behavior. So health and wellness is a massive thing. If we're feeling good within ourselves, if we're feeling healthy and we're feeling energized, we can achieve far more than when we're just slogging ourselves and working 7 days a week.
Brilliant advice. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Fantastic. So, Deb, you've got a Facebook page. People can go and like your Facebook page on Facebook as well as your website. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to ask you. I think it's been a great interview. I think your insights to business has been invaluable to the business owner, whether they're from the startup stage or whether they're, a CEO of a business. I think the words that you said in the beginning were actually true, because it was spoken to me in 2008, and my mentor said to me, if you want to know who you are, go into business, because you'll soon discover who you are and what you need to work on. So that was a brilliant start. Thank you for sharing that. It's so very true.
It is true, isn't it? It's the biggest personal development journey ever, and just when you think you're there,
something else happens.
Something else.
You already worked on that.
Exactly.
Gotta go back there and fix all that again.
Exactly. And so that's probably another insight, is to never stop working on yourself. Always look at how you can improve yourself and be willing to step back and confront yourself. It's a big one, because we really do have to confront ourselves, don't we?
Yes. So that's awesome. Thank you so much, Deb, for joining us here today on the show. Your information, your tips, your tools, and your insight are invaluable. So I really appreciate your time. And if you need a success journal, which I'm sure you all do need a success planner, check out Deb's website and also her Facebook page. And if you're a local to Cairns, Mareeba, Port Douglas area, check out the one-day workshop that Deb has at the beginning of January, is it?
Yeah, it is. Power Start. Power Start 2018.
Awesome. So thanks, Deb, again. Look forward to seeing you really soon.
Thank you so much, Leanne. It's been lots of fun.
My pleasure. Bye for now.
Bye.